Hey guys, so this is one of the most terrifying videos that I have made, but I have been wanting to make this video for a long time, and I think it's probably more appropriate to put it on my regular channel, my main channel, rather than my mental health channel, just because it's such a big deal to me. But the reason why I am scared to make this video, the reason why I've put it off for so long, is because one of my biggest problems is I care way too much what people think. So yeah, you're gonna see some nervous habits like this in the video, but yeah, I care too much what people think of me, because I mean, that's how I grew up, basically. You know, I was heavily bullied, and like pretty much everything about me was criticized. Not even just by the bullies, but by pretty much like people around me. You know, I'm not gonna get too much into the details, you know. If you want to hear more about that, you know, I'll go on and on about that on my mental health channel. But basically, I care way too much about people's opinions of me, and they get in my head and they torment me, you know, even opinions that are not meant to be negative or not meant to be hurtful. You know, it's what's prevented me from making this video for so long. But this video is so important to me that I really need to do this, because I want to talk about the most, like, probably the most interesting and unusual way that I have been brought out of the worst bout of depression of my life. So to understand this story, to understand it, I'm gonna go back to when I was friends with a certain person, and I'm not gonna say any names because I don't want people going after this person. We were friends for a while. He and I were friends for a while, but he lived in another state. And I had feelings from him from the start, but I didn't really do anything about them. I tried to fight them off, actually, because somewhere in our friendship, he, you know, like a few months into our friendship, I asked him about relationships, and he said that he didn't want to be in a relationship if it was long distance, and he wasn't really ready for a relationship. And so I decided, okay, I'm not going to tell him about my feelings for him. I'm going to fight them off, and I'm going to try and find someone else and just, you know, forget about it. And for like a whole year, I tried to fight those feelings off. And then I couldn't anymore. And then he knew, though, that I had feelings for him. Eventually, like, he said that he knew, you know, like, we started talking about it and stuff like that, and he said that he had feelings for me too, and all that. But of course, you know, he wasn't ready for a relationship and all that jazz. But like for like over a year, I tried really hard to get over those feelings. And finally, I just couldn't. And I just broke down and told him, I love you. I'm in love with you. And I know you're not ready for a relationship, so I'll wait. So a year after that, I save up enough to go visit him where he lives, and we basically test things out to see if there's chemistry. And after I got home, he sent me a message and said that he wanted to be my boyfriend. And that was like that night, like my dream had just come true. It was huge for me because I didn't think that we would ever end up together. I had so many doubts because I'm like, I'm just thinking someone else is gonna get him. You know, I'm not good enough for him. Like all that stuff, because I mean, I've been in so many toxic relationships in the past, and so many relationships that went up in smoke. And I've had so many friends and boyfriends turn on me in my life, because when you're both autistic and visually impaired, people tend to judge you really harshly, and they tend to run away when things get tough. A lot of people got sick and tired of having to look out for the quote unquote blind girl, or they got sick and tired of my autistic behaviors, and they got sick of the quote unquote drama and everything, and so they left one way or another. Sometimes they would slowly fade out of my life. Other times they would completely just cut me off and, just say, screw you, I don't want to be your friend anymore. Or they would ghost me, like pretty much any way that someone can turn their back on you, like you name it. That's how they did it. And it was a lot of fun. But this relationship was a big deal to me because, he and I had been best friends for so long, and he knew so much about me, and I honestly thought that I knew so much about him. But anyway, a few weeks later, he broke up with me, and he said it was because he wasn't ready for a relationship, and he didn't want to be in a long distance relationship. And I was devastated, absolutely devastated. It triggered the absolute worst and most painful depression of my life. He said that we would still be friends. And, I wanted to try and be friends with him too. But a month later, he ghosted me. He ghosted me for 4 months straight. I would hear from him on Facebook every now and then, but he wouldn't talk to me on the phone. And he wouldn't really carry on like a full conversation on Facebook, just like a few messages every now and then. And then he came back. We started talking on the phone again, but then he would come and go as he pleased. Sometimes he wouldn't talk to me for 2 weeks. Sometimes it was 3 weeks. And then finally, the last time I heard from him over the phone was last summer. And then he ghosted me again, and I just stopped trying with him. I just basically stopped trying. But for a year, almost a year after he left me, it knocked me into a horrible, horrible depression. It forced me to look back on so many failed relationships in my life and analyze, what did I do wrong? What have I done wrong? This is why it ended. This is what I did to make this person leave me. And it's something that I have struggled with since I was a little girl. Because like I said, my whole life I've had so many friends turn on me too, not just boyfriends. Friends. And I actually dive into more of my abandonment issues on my mental health channel. So if you want to subscribe to that, it's Tiffany's Trials. And I'll put the link in the description. But basically, I kept just basically analyzing every relationship and being like, this is why it went wrong. This is what I did wrong. This is why I can't keep relationships. I keep doing this. I can't stop doing that. And I hated myself. I really hated myself. Even though he told me it wasn't my fault that we broke up, that it wasn't because of me. It's still, it just brought back so much pain from the past. And I'm going to be completely honest. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. I was fighting suicidal thoughts. I came very close to suicide many times, but I kept fighting them off. I kept fighting the thoughts away. I kept saying, I don't want to die. And I even self-harmed a couple of times. Not to the point where it became an addiction, but I self-harmed. And for me, my self-harm was a way of punishing myself. For a lot of people, self-harming is a way to relieve stress, you know, like really bad stress, like for them to shift their focus onto physical pain so they don't have to deal with the mental and emotional and psychological pain. For me, it's about punishing myself for something and causing myself pain because I must have done something horrible and I deserve to feel pain. That's why I self-harmed. And it didn't become an addiction, thankfully, but it was something that I did a few times. And like for a year, I was in that mindset of I'm a screw up. Nothing I do is right. I drive off people, you know, and it wasn't self-pity that I was feeling. I did not feel one bit sorry for myself. I felt disgusted with myself. I hated myself. I despised myself. Like sometimes I would look in the mirror and I would say, I hate you, you piece of trash, you know? And a lot of times I would ask God, I really want to know what I've done to deserve this pain. I'm not asking as a way of self-pity. I really want to know what did I do to deserve to feel this pain all the time, to have so many people hurt me. I really wanted to know, but I also kept praying to God, please get me out of this, because I can't take it anymore. This is too much. And if this keeps going, I'm going to do something really stupid that I'm going to regret. Or probably not even regret, because I won't even be around to regret it. I kept praying to God, please get me out of this. Even though I was in the worst pain possible, I still kept praying to God. Even though a lot of times I felt like he had turned on me. Like I felt like he had turned his back on me because I was so horrible and so crappy, you know, just like, I felt like I don't deserve God's love. I don't deserve to go to heaven. I don't deserve good things. I don't deserve anything good. But I kept praying, please get me out of this. Please help me somehow, God. And I remembered one day I was actually doing some video surfing. It was May last year. In fact, it was on Mother's Day, I remember. It was May last year. I was doing some video surfing on YouTube. I was actually looking for a cover of some Kate Bush songs because I really like Kate Bush. She's an awesome artist. If you've never heard of her, check out her music. She's incredible. So I came across this one channel and I started looking at this girl's other videos. And one of the covers that she did, I mean, she did Wuthering Heights by Kate Bush, and it was gorgeous. Her name is Jess Anderson, if you want to check her out, by the way. But another song that she did was Someday by Celtic Woman. You know, it was sort of Celtic Woman's version from the Hunchback of Notre Dame. And I looked in the description to see where she had gotten the piano track from. And I went to that channel and I started looking at all of their videos and all of the piano instrumental covers that they had done. And I came across one that said Gollum Song from Lord of the Rings. And I remembered when I went to see that person that I was in love with. He did this like one time he did this really cool, really funny Gollum impression, and it got me curious. Like, I wanted to know more about Gollum and more about like Lord of the Rings and everything. But because I remember he had told me Gollum's story, you know, when we were first starting out as friends. And I remember it broke my heart. Like, that story just broke my heart. And for some reason, even like after that, you know, after that impression that he did, I wanted to look up videos of Gollum. And I never got around to it, especially after he broke up with me, because any reminder of like any Lord of the Rings reference, because he loved Lord of the Rings so much, was painful for me because of that, you know, because of the relationship ending and because of how brokenhearted and devastated I was. But one day my curiosity finally got the better of me. So I looked up Gollum Song and I listened to it, and it was so sad and so beautiful and heart-wrenching, and the words, I resonated with them so much, related to them on such a deep level, especially at a time where I was in the worst mindset possible. And then I looked up a video of Gollum because I wanted to know what he looked like and hear his voice. And before I continue, I'd like to point out that one of my autistic traits is childlike qualities and tendencies. And I have I have childlike interests and a very active childlike imagination. And I have like a bed full of stuffed animals and fuzzy blankets that I snuggle with every night, and a box full of Barbie dolls, and I still find joy in watching kid shows. I'm still a little girl at heart. And that's one of my autistic traits. That's just part of who I am. And the other thing I'd like to point out is I know how some people feel about the character Gollum and Smeagol. I have heard every opinion there is about him under the sun. So, you don't need to leave those in the comments, because I'm going to delete them, because you're not going to dissuade me from taking interest in this character. You're not going to dissuade my opinion, and if you want to leave comments making fun of me about how I feel about this character, well, I'm just going to delete that comment, because I'm not going to tolerate hateful comments on my channel anyway. So, anyway, back to the story. So, I looked up the video of Gollum. It was basically a compilation of clips of Gollum and Smeagol. And I don't want to go, too much into the story. I'll leave a link below to a YouTuber, a video that a YouTuber did, basically explaining his whole story, and you can watch it there and learn more about him if you're interested. But I watched the video and I'm like, okay, first of all, he is adorable. And second of all, I love his voice. He's so funny, he's so cool. He's a very interesting and neat character. And then I started looking up his story and learning more about him. I watched that video that I'm gonna link in the description. I watched that video and it explained his whole story, and I'm like, holy smokes, he has been through so much. And I read more about him and learned more about him, and I know that he did some pretty messed up things, but none of those things were really his fault. They were fault of that one ring of power that basically forced him to do all that stuff. But I'm not going to go into that. What I want to talk about is how I resonated with that character and what the character Smeagol did for me. See, Smeagol is who he was before the ring, and then he developed the Gollum personality after the ring was found. So basically, Gollum and Smeagol are two different personalities living in one body, and they have conversations with each other and argue with each other. So anyway, for the life of me, and all the research that I have done, I still don't see him as a villain. I don't see him as a bad guy. I can't see him as a bad guy or a villain. I can't see him as evil. He was forced into a really bad situation that, he was, like I said, I don't know how to explain it, making it short and everything, but he was forced into a really bad situation, and the Ring of Power forced him to do some pretty messed up things. But even then, I just can't see him as a villain or a bad guy. I don't look at him and see a pitiful creature. I don't look at him and see ugliness. To me, he's not ugly, he's adorable. And he's not pitiful. I see him as courageous and strong and brave because of everything that he's gone through. Because he has had family, his whole family turned on him. All of his friends abandoned him. He lived alone in a dark cave for 500 years because his body was so sensitive to the sun after he found the ring. And so many, the encounters that he had with other people, elves, hobbits, and other creatures, a lot of them were so unpleasant, and basically everyone just wanted him dead. And he was treated so badly, especially by Sauron and his servants. And he was abused, he was judged very harshly, and even through all that, he kept holding on. He kept a positive attitude. He found joy in little things, like going fishing. He loved fish. He loved to fish. And he, he kept going. He never gave up. I can't imagine going through something like that, never getting to see my family again, and having no friends and nobody there for me, and being on my own in the middle of nowhere in a dark cave with no one there for me, nobody, all by myself for 500 plus years. And then when I finally do have interactions with other people, they're unpleasant, and most of them hate my guts. I couldn't imagine going through that. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't do it. Just living on my own 500 years plus, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do it. Not even if I had all the stuff that I wanted in the world. Because I wouldn't have someone special with me. I wouldn't have friends with me. I wouldn't have loved ones with me. I couldn't be by myself in the middle of nowhere for 500 plus years. And by the way, the reason he lived so long is because the ring extended his life. But anyway, I saw what he went through, and I saw someone who was strong and someone who was empowering and incredible. And I learned more about him. I learned more about what kind of person Smeagol is, and just he's such a, he's so cheerful. Even despite everything that he went through, he's so cheerful, and he's so positive and very smart, and he's so innocent and childlike, just like me. And he's been through a lot worse than I have, but he and I have been through similar things, but he's been through much worse. He was bullied, abused, abandoned, and and hurt so badly, and he still kept going, and he still kept a positive attitude, and he still kept a smile on his face and found little things to smile and laugh about. And he, like, I mean, he's just incredible. And his voice, you know, his voice is comforting to me and soothing to me and uplifting, and I know how crazy all of this sounds. You don't have to point that out. I know how crazy all of this sounds, but he inspired me in so many ways and still does. And I remember a few days after my birthday last year, I was at the beach. Because my family and I, we go to the beach a lot because we have a condo down there. We own a condo down there, and I was floating around on an inner tube in the lazy river, and I was just letting my mind wander, and I was thinking about, you know, the fan fiction I was writing, because I've been writing a lot of Gollum and Smeagol fan fiction, and I just had this feeling of calm and like this feeling of everything is going to be okay. And that's when I came out of that horrible depression. That's when I realized that I was okay and that everything was going to be okay. And I slowly started to let this person go, because I slowly started to wake up to how toxic they were. You know, like throughout the friendship and the relationship, they said and did things that were very toxic. See, the thing about this person is they knew how to come off as a sweet and charming, good person. They were very charming. So, you know, he basically had me in his grasp. You know, he basically sucked me in, and because of that, he could do whatever he wanted with my feelings, say what he wanted, and I would hang on his every word. And he would say some things every now and then that were condescending or dismissive or hurtful, and he would do things that would really hurt me, and he would make me feel ashamed of my mental health issues. And you know, he was a toxic person. And then, you know, when, you know, like sometimes when I would call him on his behavior, he would turn it on me. Most of the time he wouldn't, which made it even more like more scary to deal with when he actually did turn it on me. But I slowly started to let this person go, because I realized that I deserve better than to be treated like utter garbage and abused like this. Because this relationship almost drove me to end my life. It almost drove me to suicide, and it, you know, it just, I was in the worst pain possible until I found Smeagol. And I know a lot of you are probably out there like laughing your butts off, saying, why is she so attached to a fictional character? A grown woman? Well, I'm autistic, so get over it. And he's more than, you know, a fictional character to me. He is an inspiration. And I know that I have a tendency to come off as like super dramatic. I don't mean to when I do. I don't mean to sound like a drama queen when I do, but I do have to say that if it wasn't for Smeagol, if I didn't find Smeagol, I wouldn't be here today, because I was in such a bad place when I found him. you know, like I said, I kept praying to God, get me out of this, please, please, I can't take it anymore. And then I find Smeagol. And by the way, this is my Smeagol action figure. You see him a lot in my videos, in my music videos, and you saw him in my live streams as well. And he's very special to me, and he's like my muse and my inspiration. And you know, I'm just so grateful that I found this incredible character. He inspires me on so many levels, as a musician, as a writer, as a person. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that I am like fully recovered from my depression, because I still have little bouts of depression and episodes of self-hatred. In fact, I had another one yesterday when YouTube decided to end and delete my live stream, because I was trying to do a autism acceptance concert, and YouTube cut me off and deleted the live stream because of copyright issues. And I was devastated, and I was upset, and I was very down on myself, saying, you know, nothing I do matters. It doesn't matter what I do, nothing I do will make a difference anyway. So, but then, you know, like Smeagol, I guess you could say, Smeagol cheered me up again. You know, like every time I am down on myself and I'm going through pain and everything, maybe I'll watch a video of Smeagol, or I'll look at a picture of him, or I'll remember what he went through and how he survived it. You know, how he held on for so long and never ever gave up. And it'll pull me out again, you know, and I feel like I have grown so much as a person in the last year, because I have learned to take less crap from people. I finally stood up to that person. Like a few weeks ago, I finally stood up to that person and told them how I really felt. I called them on their behavior. They tried to turn it back on me. And then I finally put my foot down and said, no, you don't get to turn this on me. And I told them exactly what I thought of them and how I felt about them. And I blocked them. I blocked them and I cut them out of my life for good, because I realized just how manipulative and emotionally and psychologically abusive they were to me. And my grandparents noticed it too. My granddad actually pointed it out that this person was really good at manipulating, because he came off as a sweet, charming person. So he could suck me in and do what he wanted with my feelings. Basically, he wanted control. He wanted to be in charge. And he had control over me. He had control over my feelings. Until I finally got wise, and I realized just how toxic this was. And I'm like, heck with it. I'm not taking anymore. I don't need this. You know, if you're gonna mess with my feelings all the time, toy with them, ghost me and come and go as you please, and say dismissive things and hurtful things to me, and not be there for me when I actually need you, and just treat me like utter garbage, then screw it. I don't need people like that in my life. I have learned to stand up for myself a little more now. I am still struggling with self-hatred every now and then. I still struggle with really bad confidence issues, but I'm getting better. I'm working on it. I'm still struggling with letting people walk all over me. but I'm slowly getting better. Because I remember how strong Smeagol was and how positive he was. And I do like that. I do like that he wasn't afraid to stand up for himself and express himself. I do like that he was a very determined character. He was very, very determined, and when he would set his mind to something, he would never give up. And no matter how difficult and painful things got, he never quit trying. He never tried to end his life. He never tried to throw in the towel and say, screw it, screw life, I'm done, you know, because he found, I don't know, he just found joy in little things too. I mean, not just the ring. He found joy in nice little things like fishing or helping Frodo. You know, it was incredible, and all he really wanted was a friend. All he wanted was love. All he truly wanted was someone to love and accept him and be there for him. That's all he truly wanted. Like, you can see throughout the movie, even though he had that desire for the ring, you could see that he also wanted to let it go. He wanted to be free of it because he was a prisoner to that ring. And he wanted to be free of it, and he kept trying. He kept trying to fight, and he kept going no matter how hard things got, and that inspired me to keep going. And like, just his voice alone is very soothing to listen to and always puts a smile on my face. Sometimes it gets me emotional listening to his voice because I'm a very emotional person, okay? That's just me. But basically, that's my story about how Smeagol saved my life. And I know how dramatic that sounds. I don't really care, honestly. And honestly, why do I care so much what a bunch of random people would say? Like, why do I care so much if a random person has, an opinion about me that is not pleasant, not nice? Why do I care? Why does that still bother me? I know why it does, but at the same time, why? Why can't I just get past that? Because all caring about people's opinions has done to me is just stop me from taking chances like this, and stop me from living my life, and stop me from doing or saying things that I really want to say and want to do, and singing things that I want to sing, and just trying things I want to try because I'm so scared of what people are going to think of me. It's done nothing but damage me and destroy my life and limit me. And I really just want to get over it because it's my one ring. My one ring is caring too much what people think, and my self-hatred for myself. My one ring is my lack of confidence. My one ring is I'm a prisoner to other people's opinions, and I'm a prisoner to my self-hatred and so many damaging things that have done nothing to help me in my life. Nothing but destroy me inside and hurt me. I just want to let it go. I'm tired of caring about people's opinions. I'm tired of trying to please people. I'm tired of trying to basically censor myself just to make everyone else happy and do what makes everyone else happy. I'm tired of it. And I'm tired of apologizing for who I am. I'm tired of hating myself. I'm tired of questioning everything that I do, every move I make, every word that comes out of my mouth. I'm tired of it. I'm sick and tired of questioning myself and being so damn hard on myself and torturing myself with hurtful and negative thoughts. I'm just so tired of feeling this way about myself. And I'm tired of being a prisoner to everyone else's opinions and expectations of me and everyone else's standards. I'm tired of just trying to please everyone else. It is making me miserable. Holy smokes, that felt good to get that off my chest. I'm just tired of it. I want to just live my life. I'm 32 years old. I really shouldn't have to have anyone's permission to do what I want to do in my life. I shouldn't have to have anyone's approval because it's my life. People might disagree with my choices. That's okay. But the people who really love me, even if they disagree, the people who love me will support me and will respect me. So why am I so hung up on a bunch of random people's opinions and expectations and standards? Why? That's pathetic. Wow. Honestly, making this video is one of the best decisions I have made in a long time, along with cutting out that toxic person. And it feels so good to get all of this off of my chest. Because I am writing Smeagol and Gollum fan fiction, and it's, sappy love stories, and you know what? Good, I like sappy love stories. Those are, I love sappy love and friendship stories. Those are the kinds of stories I love the most, the ones that will tug at your heartstrings and make you cry, but they'll be like, oh my gosh, that is so sweet. I'm a sucker for happy endings. I'm a sucker for Disney stories, like fairy tale stories. Like I said, I'm a little girl at heart. I'm a sucker for that stuff. I still love Disney princesses. And I'm basically writing, sappy love stories about Smeagol and giving him the happy ending that I feel like he deserves. Because the way it ended for him in Lord of the Rings, I don't like the way it ended for him. That was so sad and heartbreaking, and I feel like he deserves a happy ending and a second chance. And that is no disrespect to Tolkien, because every day, I'm like, thank you, Tolkien, for creating this incredible creature, this incredible character that has saved my life. You are awesome, and you're an incredible author and poet, and you're a genius. You're awesome. But I got attached to one of the characters that you created, and I decided that I just wanted to give him a happy ending. But I know that I will never be the writer that you were. And that doesn't bother me. Because I just do it for fun, and I do it for myself, because it's also therapeutic for me. And I also want to add that I have created a Facebook page, a fan page on Facebook, and it's facebook.com/lovesmeagol, and I am basically using Smeagol's character to spread positivity and joy and happiness. And what I do on that page is, I take pictures of my Smeagol action figure, and, I kind of role play on that page, like I post, the posts that I make on there, it's as Smeagol, so, and it's just some fun role playing on that page, and it's therapeutic for me, but I think that maybe it could be therapeutic for other people. And, you know, so if you go and like that page and you want to interact with Smeagol, you know, basically don't imagine that it's me. Imagine that it's Smeagol talking to you and Smeagol leaving those posts, because that's how I see Smeagol. Basically, the posts that I make on that page, that's how I see Smeagol, and that's how I see how he truly is without the ring. That's how I see him, and that's what I think that he would do if he was, you know, if he was real and he had a social media page. He would probably, you know, if he was given a second chance and he was real, he would probably use that second chance to spread love and happiness because of everything that he's been through. It probably would have taught him a very, very valuable lesson about love and friendship and what's really important and what the real precious is, because the precious is not the ring, it's love. So anyway, this was a very long video, but it was very important for me to make it, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it. It was definitely therapeutic for me because I got so much off my chest. So anyway, I will put some links in the description to the YouTuber who told the story about Gollum and Smeagol. I'll put that video in the description, and I'll also put the Facebook page in the description, and also I made an Instagram page too for Smeagol. I'll put that in the description if you wanna follow that page. I think I'm gonna make it public. So anyway, before I go, I want to give you big fluffy sweater hugs, and I'm wearing a very soft sweater, and it's very cuddly, and it tickles, and it's so soft and snuggly and fluffy. And Smeagol also wants to give you big fluffy sweater hugs, even though he's not wearing a sweater, but he does have the sweater blanket. Actually, I have it, but so silly. Anyway, Smeagol wants to give you big fluffy sweater hugs. I am a goober. See, I'm a little girl. Anyway, bye.